This week's episode of Timeout with Coach Turner is brought to you by the Knoxville High School K Club and the Letterman's Banquet. This is a banquet we do every Friday, homecoming weekend. If you attended Knoxville High School and you earned your varsity K, whether it be in athletics, academics, music, whatever Knoxville gives a K in, male, female, you are invited to attend this banquet. You are a member of the K Club. It's $10 to get in. It's at the high school. It starts at 5 o'clock. We introduce the football team. The coach gives a little speech. The $10 gets you a meal. It gets you into the homecoming football game. We always have a guest speaker, and we always do a little special recognition for someone in the past for their hard work or dedication or accomplishments while being a part of Knoxville High School. It's a great event. If you've not been, you should come check it out. We welcome everyone, and we're trying to grow it each year. So once again, it starts at 5 o'clock every homecoming at the high school, and we hope to see you there. Thank you for your consideration in attending. Week 5 found the Blue Bullets in Farmington taking on the Farmers in what was for sure their toughest contest to date. Unfortunately, Knoxville takes the loss 54-23. The team looks to bounce back this week as they welcome Illini West to town for this year's homecoming game. With nearly identical records, this one has the making for a toe-to-toe battle. Come on out and support your Blue Bullets. The homecoming court will be announced at 6 with kickoff followed at 7. This is Timeout with Coach Turner, Week 6, the Chargers. Into week 6. We are back with another Timeout with Coach Turner. Coach Turner, thank you for sitting down with me again.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me in.
Week 5, we traveled to Farmington Friday night. Knoxville suffered a 54-23 loss against the Farmers. As everybody locally knows, the Farmers are pretty legit to a contender team. Just a quick rundown of some stuff here. Total yards for the game, Farmington had 490, broken down between 283 passing, 207 rushing. Knoxville had 346 yards with 29 passing and 317 rushing. Knoxville did, I believe, if I read it correctly, won the turnover battle 2-1. Yep. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to take positives, so you take those. Breaking down the rushing. We had, 8 or 9 guys that got on the, I guess officially in the books.
Right.
So, leading rusher Friday night was Bryden Walters. He had 135 yards on 10 attempts. I think third, fourth quarter had a big 93-yard touchdown run that kind of lit a spark. I mean, unfortunately, it was a little too late at that point, but I guess it kept the heads in the game a little bit. Yep. Easton Harshbarger, 64 yards, 19 attempts. James Long, 55 yards at 11 attempts. Austin Harshbarger, 29 yards on 6 carries. Bradley Cummings, 12 yards on 6 attempts. Hayden Warner snuck in there with 10 yards on 2 carries. Callum Johnston, freshman, got some action late in the game, 6 yards on 1 carry. Tanner McGarry, 4 yards on 1 carry. And Quentin Woodruff, another freshman, got 2 yards on 1 attempt. So I guess comparatively, the rushing yards were down this week. I did not feel that it was due to a lack of effort, but just the fact that we faced a much more talented defense than we had seen this year. So I guess with at least 2 games left on the schedule that would be considered tough, I guess, in quotes, games, which every game is tough, as we know. What would you like to see to keep those rushing numbers up moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to stay ahead of the chains, kind of shot ourselves in the foot with penalties a couple different times and turnovers. Those have been our two biggest hiccups all year, penalties and turnovers that have stopped our offense. I think we've only punted four or five times all year.
Yeah.
So, it's the turnovers and the penalties, and typically it's the penalties that force us into the punt situation. Obviously, we know turnovers, we lose the ball together and we don't have to punt. But, if we stay ahead of the chains and stay manageable down in distance, then our offense is tough to defend.
Yeah. So, usually we always give props to the offensive line. Basing on this score, I'm not taking anything away from the offensive line, but they did have their hands full all night. But I felt they really stuck with it the best they could. I said, I'm currently saying, how does facing a team that has a defensive front like Farmington's help moving forward? Or do you think it could lead to an underlying frustration that might have a negative effect mentally?
No, I mean, the way I looked at that game, our goal is every week to get over 300 yards rushing. Like the kids get a helmet sticker if we get over 300, So we were over 300 against a good team, and we put 23 points on the board.
Yeah.
Most games, you score 23, you got a chance.
Right.
You're not going to be down by 30 points. Unfortunately, how things went Friday night, we were in that boat where we were playing catch up from too far behind. But if we rush for 300 and we score over 20, we're going to be in a one-score game most of the time. There's some things defensively we got to clean up, tackling in space, and their athleticism really hurt us on the edge. And I knew going in, we were trying to keep the ball away from them, keep the ball out of their hands, and so we were chewing clock from the opening snap. Tried to limit possessions because I knew their offense was dynamic, and then we knew that we had to put some kids in tough spots and one-on-ones, and knew if we could compete in those one-on-ones and win most of them, we'd have a good shot to win the game. Their athletes, won the majority of the battles, which, I put those kids in a really tough spot. So we switched some things up and made them, have to run the ball more.
Right.
And they were able to do that as well. So I felt good about our game plan. I felt like the kids were locked in the entire time. Like you said, we scored right before half, and then Bryden busted off that big run and cut it to a 3-score game. Yeah, with 6 minutes to go, but that still keeps the kids' competitive juices going.
Absolutely.
So I was super proud of the guys battling, never tapped out.
Yeah, and I'll touch on this a little later, but it was definitely, they kept their heads up when in a game like that. It could have been very easy to say, with the atmosphere and just Farmington being Farmington, but they didn't care, and that was good. Like you said, you put up 23 points on what very well may be a state contender in 2A.
Absolutely. They were last year.
And although it was a tough loss, how do you keep their heads up moving forward and pull positives out of that game? A lot of times young kids, you suffer a 30-point or near 30-point loss, it could discourage them. So I guess, how do you keep them motivated with it?
Monday when we went in and watched film, we just showed them, the gaps between how much closer that game could have been. A missed block here or there, a false start here or there, a turnover here or there. If we eliminate those mistakes, that's a much tighter game. And then when you're in a tight game with somebody that's supposed to win, all the pressure falls on them.
Absolutely.
And then they might make some of those mistakes. Yeah. We just couldn't keep it close enough or long enough. So you show them the mistakes, you show them how to close those gaps and win those tight games. And then you show them some of the positive and think, hey, this is a really good team. Look, we did this well. Right. We did this well. And show them those positives. And then we clean up the mistakes. And it's just like a play in a football game. That play's over. You got to think about it for, the snap cycle, and then you got to move on. I always tell them after wins, enjoy it for 48 hours. After a loss, let it set in and hurt for 24, and then we got to move on. The next game's got to come.
Yeah, I think if anything, offensively, this makes them overall stronger. I mean, that's, for what the season has left, maybe when we go to Ottawa, you might run into something that we've not seen or not used to, but they held their own the best they could, and I think hopefully they take positives from that and realize that, that, like we said before, they're all high school kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all 15 to 18, and that's anything can happen on any night. So offensively, might not have scored what you wanted, but your goals were still there. The rushing yards, really the passing. Was it 2 for 5, 3 for 5?
Yeah,
something. Not a lot of yards, but it was able to break things up.
Yeah, it was effective as far as expanding the defense. They played with 3 deep DBs all night. So that gave us running lanes that we have to take advantage of.
So at least they respected it, which is credited to the players and so moving to the defensive side of the ball. So 2 takeaways. You had 2 interceptions. Right, they're both interceptions.
Yep, both interceptions.
Against a dangerous offense such as Farmington, who has at least one legitimate Division I guy out there, and I can't remember the names. I apologize. The other kid was just as effective.
Yeah.
But that's a huge takeaway to build on. Like, you guys hung with a legit team that's going to use that as their bread and butter.
Right.
And you took the ball away twice. So that had to be nice to see.
Yeah. No matter where the season goes, and then this is nothing against any team we play down the road, I don't know that we'll see another spread team with that many great athletes.
Right.
We'll come across teams that are still really, really good, but their athleticism on the outside is some of the best I've seen since I've been back coaching small school football. And like I told the guys at the end, I said, this is like a second round quarterfinal type playoff game. I said, and that's what you're going to run across. The nice thing is we're not going to see Farmington in the playoffs if we qualify. We got plenty of work ahead of us to qualify, but we're not going to see that team. We're not going to see any teams that we've faced so far. So
yeah.
But none of that matters if we don't qualify, and that's one game at a time type thing.
So, I mean, really, if you think about it, we had a third interception that would have went for a pick six, slips right through the hands. Not, that might not have been a difference maker, but at the same time it could have. But that's probably one of those things you showed your kids, hey, right there, it was there.
Yep.
It happens. We missed it. I guess how do you kind of already did this. How do you rate your defensive backs? Because they're not used to seeing this. They're used to seeing the run. But I guess how do you rate them with their first big test with that receiving crew that Farmington has?
Yeah, I was talking to the assistant coaches after the game, and it's just the nature of the beast. I said, our DBs were in the right spot the majority of the time. When they had help over top, they did a pretty darn good job. When I put them on an island and played one-on-one, they struggled because of the other team's athleticism. I said, I think we could have cleaned up some of that stuff when I put them in one-on-ones, but they needed to be like a college team and just a DB for the entire week and not work on offense. Well, how high school programs are in the state, they got to play offense too. So we cannot just focus on one side of the ball all practice. I mean, but they improved, and that the game's only going to benefit us by playing it. I mean, we wanted to win the game, but
100%.
Seeing a quality team like that and going toe to toe. I mean, from the midway through the second quarter on, I felt like the game was pretty much back and forth.
100%.
And they were trying to put 40 on us. There's no doubt in my mind. They were calling time. They're up 33-0 as we're driving. They were calling timeouts, trying to get it back to go 40-0 at half before half, which is fine. Like, they want to get running clock. I will do the same thing too. But our guys didn't allow that to happen, and then they never got it to 40 ever or all night. So, and it was even after that. It was within 30 points at the end. So we played toe-to-toe with them with their starters in.
Yeah, so once again, as we've said, really each passing week, you had a lot of contributors on the defensive side of the ball with 15 players who registered at least one tackle. Your leaders, again, were Tanner McGarry with 7 tackles, Bradley Cummings with 6. Bryden Walters was right in the mix. He added 4. But these two names with Tanner and Bradley, who we've talked about for multiple weeks now, they've not let up one step, really. And when it comes to physical play and getting stops, they're still sticking with it. So how important is it to see this consistency and leadership to the overall goals of the team?
Yeah, it's huge. And, I talked to Tanner. We kind of limited some of his reps on offense last week. so we could keep him fresh on defense, and because he's been playing so well on D, I want to keep him fresh on D and then rotate him in and give guys breaks on O. Bradley, unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity to give him a break on O, but both of them are playing at an extremely high level on the defensive side of the ball.
And I think it's been kind of infectious when you have two seniors like that. Like they stayed in the game, down big. They were still out there putting hits on, even if it wasn't the tackles, but they're taking blocks, they're putting hits on, they're getting after the ball. I think other people are feeding off that, which is only going to make the whole team better.
On the sideline, I didn't hear one negative comment from the kids all night. Like they stayed the course and stayed focused, and we controlled what they could control, and that's what we ask out of them.
Oh yeah. So I applaud the effort, both sides of the ball, by all players. It could have been very easy, like I said earlier, to hang your head, especially when Farmington came out quick. First half, it got to be, 33-0. For anybody, that's kind of like, oh man. But they never let them reach the goal they were going for.
Right.
And that goal wasn't a malicious goal by any means. But they said, you know what? You're going to have to earn it, and they couldn't earn it. So that is kudos to those kids that were on the field. A quick recap of Friday night. Knoxville falls to Farmington 54-23. They fall to 3-2 on the season. It was a contest we knew would be a large challenge, but our guys on the field did not shy away one bit. It's a tough loss, but a lot of opportunities to learn, make adjustments moving forward, to get down to what is really the most important heart of the season, starting in 3 days with the homecoming game.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing, recap that Farmington game. In our program, I told the kids this after a game, there's no moral victories in our program. Like, we went down there to win that game. Now, there's positives that came out of the game, even though we lost, but, there's no moral victories. We want to win those games. We want to be in the spot Farmington's in. So I'm super proud of their effort, and I'm proud of that, but I don't want people to think like, oh, they're okay with losing. That's never the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I guess you just try to put positives on it, but
absolutely.
I'm glad you said that. It's not to be misconstrued that, hey, you can accept losing, but it's not, what's that old saying? Like, you can accept it, but don't settle for it, or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's not the goal to go in there, lose, but look good.
You're right.
So I'm really glad you mentioned that. So here we are, homecoming week, week 6, is that what we said?
Yep.
We face a 2-3 Illini West team. Illini West has had their struggles. 2 weeks ago, they lost a quarterback to an injury, and last Friday, they actually got beat by West Hancock. You showed me the play they lost on. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sometimes the calls go, sometimes the calls didn't. I never blame officials, and I should have put this in there. The officials Friday night, I think, missed quite a few holdings, but that did not decide the game by any means.
Absolutely.
But if it was obvious to my wife standing there, that's a hold. I'm like, yeah, it was. Oh, man. They didn't throw. So, but it is what it is.
Right.
So as coach, you have a different perspective on things as parents and fans. Do you see this Friday as a must-win?
No, I don't. I mean, I approach every game as 1-0 mentality, and that's the approach we take with the kids. But I never, when I was a younger coach, I probably would have looked at it as a must-win. But now, my years of experience, like, nothing's ever going to be must-win until we have 4 losses, and it is truly a must-win. Right. Or till we're in the playoffs, and it is a must-win. So no, I'm taking the same approach, and even if we are in a must-win situation down the road, well, I'll take my same approach. But no, I don't look at it as must-win.
No, that's good, because that's why I said, as a fan, you look at it different. As a parent, you're sitting here like, ooh, we probably need this one, but you level me out. No, you don't.
Right.
There's still that room. We have a little uphill battle Friday. Not anything that can't be overcome, but we will be playing without the leading carrier on the season. Easton Harshbarger suffered a broken foot Friday night at Farmington. But I believe you have guys ready to step in, ready to roll. Hopefully don't miss a beat and just continue on like normal.
Yeah, I lost my senior season week 5. Tore my ACL and never got to play football again. So when guys go down to injuries, whether they're a couple weeks or the season, I just feel for those kids because I've been in that spot.
Right. You
get 4 years to play high school sports. You get 36 opportunities to play football, and to lose any of them just stinks.
Right.
So Easton going down, I feel bad, worse for him because he's losing those opportunities. But as far as the team, we've just marched on. It's next man up mentality. That's the unfortunate side of football. That's the mentality you have to have. We don't want to lose anybody, but we can't let that spiral into a negative. So, it's the next guy up. And the nice thing is, like you said, it's a position we have depth at. We got guys that can step in and still do a nice job, and it's not going to change anything we do on either side of the ball.
Right. So on paper, really, you look at this, it seems to be a good matchup. Pretty even matchup if you look at common opponents and whatnot. What is your plan of attack to come out on top?
We got to take care of the football. I think we've had a fumble three straight weeks in a row. We got to take care of the football and limit our penalties. I know I keep saying it over and over, but those are things that keep shooting us in the foot. And then we got to limit their big plays. I got a couple backs that are pretty fast, and they are by far the biggest team we've seen all year. They might be the biggest team. Even years I was coaching the Big Six. They have some big dudes. But we got some fast dudes. We got some big dudes too. The size it is what it is. So we got to limit their big plays, and when we got a chance to take a big play, I think we got more team speed overall. We gotta house some things.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, this is homecoming week, so there's plenty of festivities going on. Really, motivation should be on our side. For those that haven't been out to a game yet, I encourage you to. It all kicks off Tuesday, at 2:00 Friday with the parade. And then, as I said in the little intro here, there's the Letterman's Banquet that's now back at the high school. Again, thank you to Diamond Ag the past few years and Andy Flesher for letting us use his. But anybody out there who has lettered, who went to Knoxville, earned a varsity letter, whether it's music, sports, academics, whatever we give letters for, you're invited. It's a great event. Coach Turner will be there with his football team. The football team will introduce themselves. Coach Turner will speak briefly. Case Hennepin will be our guest speaker, and it's just a good time. Includes food, includes your ticket into the game as well. So a lot going on Friday night, but most importantly, it is a 7:00 kickoff. The Illini West Chargers are in town. It should be a great night of football, and I know the football staff and players would appreciate a great night in the stands as well. So Coach Turner, once again, thank you for sitting down with me, and I wish you and your team luck, and we will do this again next weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Go Big Blue.